Well, hello everybody. I hope everyone is well considering the period we're in. We're so delighted to have you with us today for this webinar about Google My Business Basics. My name is Kenza and I'm joined today by Fernando. We're International Sales Manager here at Partout, and we're happy to have you here. So during the next 20 minutes, we'll go through three different parts. The first one will be introducing briefly Google My Business, the basics and its perks. The second will be about the creation and validation of the listings. We'll explain you how to do so. The third one, finally, we'll see how to optimize your listings and get the most out of them. At the end of the presentation, we will not have a Q&A session, but please feel free to email us any questions you might have. You can contact us via the website or use the contact details we're going to mention in this presentation.
All right, so getting started, let's go to the GMB presentation. Again, like Kenza presented, I'm Fernando, and I'm going to be guiding you guys through part of the presentation. Just getting started here. I don't know if most of you are already familiar with this platform. I believe so, since you're on this webinar, but this was launched in 2015. And since then, Google My Business has been a free and easy to use tool that enables businesses to manage their online visibility and reputation. Establishments have the possibility to create businesses listings containing its main information. So there we're talking about the address, the phone number, business hours, and much more. It appears to be both the new digital showcase for your establishments and the first contact point with online users. There's no need for us to explain it any further, but when you're searching on Google, for example, Starbucks in London, GMB listings will be the ones to appear prominently. Either before your own website, which happens quite often if you're using on the smartphone version, or on the highlight variant that we see on the desktop version. However, what factors go into determining how you rank in the search results? Now we're going to talk about SEO factors. There are three main SEO criteria used by Google. Number one, distance. So according to the distance between your establishment, and the user's location. According to the area specified by the user. So even if you're in Paris, but you want to look for something in Geneva, you can just go on Geneva on that surface on Google GMB and look it up there, and it's going to show you. Second element or criteria for SEO is relevance. Relevance is the coherence between your search and information being presented online. For instance, I'm looking for a supermarket that's open in Boston. Are the results showing a pharmacy? Is it open? And is it in Boston? The third is importance. Importance has been becoming more and more important, pun intended. But just to give you an idea, when we think about this, we think, is all of the information of your establishment available on your website, on your Google page, on Facebook, on Waze, etc.? Is this information reliable and consistent? Because Google works basically like the human brain. And now the interesting part that's becoming very important, the reputation. Your average ranking, the number of reviews and answers related are also a factor when Google searches for potential results. When we think of reviews, we think of answering them. So just a little reminder there. What impact? So now we're going to talk about how do people search for your businesses. And Google differentiates two kinds of research. Number one is direct, when you're looking for an establishment. For instance, you're typing Apple Store in London, or indirect, or as I call it very often, discovery. When we're searching a category or an activity, a product, or anything that relates to the business. For instance, buy a smartphone in London. This will be a good indication of your local SEO if you rank up in the search results. Also under indirect, there is brand or branded. And that's when users look for a brand that's distributed by a business. As for instance, when we type in buy an iPhone 11 and the Apple Store pops up. Nowadays, 80% of Google searches are the discovery type, which is huge. That's why there is a lot of work to be achieved in terms of local SEO. Hence why this is the new big thing in digital marketing and web-to-store conversion. Let's now analyze some figures to illustrate our point. Statistics here. Well, Google provides you with numerous indicators to monitor your web-to-store performances. If we had to define priorities, we would recommend you to follow these indicators. Number of times your Google page appeared on direct and discovery searches, interactions with online users, and that means clicks to the websites from your listing, phone calls to your store from your listing, or itinerary requests when we're driving there, or we're walking there, or we're taking public transport there. Let's take the example of companies such as LCL or Carrefour, which have been tracking their KPIs since between 2018 and 2011. They have seen customers' interactions progress up to 57%. This is a significant figure because we're talking about an increase over hundreds of thousands of interactions.
Thank you. Now that we've depicted the prominence of Google My Business, we're going to focus on the main steps to create and validate your listings. So we'll go through a 6-step process from an audit of visibility till the validation of your listings. So first of all is the audit. You have to run an audit of your listings. Do you know that 80% of internet users consult GMB pages before deciding to go to a business? An unlisted store is a considerable loss of turnover. Therefore, it's essential to assess your own situation and ask yourself these following questions. Are you managing your listings? If yes, do you own them? Are they up to date? If not, do you know if they exist? And the second step is data repository. It is required to create a data repository. It could be either an Excel file, your database, or even your website. You simply need to have a database with complete, correct, and regularly updated information. We listed below the basic information to be filled in GMB. Point of interest's name, the address, the website, opening hours, phone number, categories, and of course, photos. This list represents actually the minimum of information you need to start on Google My Business. The step 3 is uploading the information. Then, directly from your GMB account, you'll be able to download Excel files and to upload information. If you have less than 10 establishments, you can update manually each one of them. If you do manage more than 10 locations, then you have to first sign into your GMB account and choose the account you would like to manage. Click Add Location on the top right corner. In the drop-down menu, click Download the template, and it will automatically start the download in your language. This template will allow you to create and indicate all of your establishment's information. Here, we'd like to specify one thing. This file has to contain a minimum of 10 establishments if you wish to validate information from different establishments at the same time. So once this uploading is completed, you'll notice that your listings are not yet validated. In order to achieve this, you'll need to create a location group account. So let's go through how to put together a location group. So this location group account has 3 advantages. First of all, centralize all the information you have in order to have an overview of all your businesses. Simpler listings validation process, and another advantage is shared management of your point of interest. To create this actual location group, go on Manage Locations, fill in a form, add simple information as the company name, the contact details, and so on. And keep in mind that the creation period can be very long and take up to 3 months. Once this is filled, and once the account is created, all of your listings will be validated. So to sum up, this procedure enables you to validate your establishment's listings which did not have an owner and to create the non-existing ones. And now that we've seen the global way to create location groups, let's explore a specific case in which you have to request the transfer of ownership from the current owner. So let's say the listing already has an owner. And let's go more in depth on listings validation. You can face different case scenarios. The first one, listing doesn't have an owner. In that case, it's really easy to obtain the ownership if you already have a location group. As previously mentioned, a validation code will be sent to you by post and you can validate it directly. The second scenario is you have to request the ownership of a listing. Just click on Request Access. You will then have to type in some information, and you will also be able to send a message to the current owner if you need to. The third one is the transfer of ownership. First, sign into your GMB account. In the menu on the left, click Users. Locate the user you'd like to transfer ownership to and click the box on the right-hand side of their name. Then you select Primary Owner from the drop-down menu, and you'll only see this option if you're an owner of the listing. So that's very important. And then when you click the primary owner menu, click Transfer and done. The primary ownership is transferred immediately. So then after this step, if your request is approved, you'll be notified by email. If it's denied, you'll also be notified by email, but you still can suggest an edit to the listing. And if you don't hear back after 3 or 4 days from Google, you might have the option to claim the profile yourself. You have simply to sign to Google My Business and look for a claim or verify button on your dashboard, and you're done.
Let's talk about a little about optimization now. This is part 3 of our presentation. And in this part, we're going to talk about 2 topics: optimizing your information and managing your customer relationship. The list of functionalities is a non-exhaustive one, as Google offers many, some of which depend on the categories of your establishment. Despite this, do not hesitate to contact us for any specific inquiries, such as, what kind of categories am I eligible to have? We'll definitely help you with that. How to be found? The first thing to deal with in order to increase your chances of being found is to optimize your categories and attributes. Photos and special hours come after this step, but they still remain extremely important. Categories. It is a tool often unexploited by advertisers. While it should be the cornerstone of your local SEO strategy, these categories are going to determine on which requests you will appear on Google. Google makes it possible for you to add 1 main category and up to 9 additional ones. We strongly advise you to display them on your listing, as they're proven to be the main source of new clients. So how to decide between which category to add to your listing? The first thing to ask yourself is, what are the people that are looking for my business interested in? If you own a beauty salon, your potential customers might be looking for a massage institute, a facial care center. You get the idea. Hence, you need to add these categories to your POI. Google never displays 2 establishments of the same company on the same request. Therefore, if you have several establishments within the same street, how can you differentiate them? Or can you even differentiate them? The answer is yes, and that's thanks to categories. You should specify a different main category for each of them. For example, appliance store, multimedia store, and the second example is a taco bar or a Mexican restaurant. The 2 work. Once this is done, your establishments will then have a higher probability of appearing on local queries that comprise these categories. Attributes. What are attributes? Attributes are tags that qualify your points of sale, such as wheelchair accessible, good value for money, Wi-Fi available, or cards accepted. There are 2 main varieties of attributes. First is subjective. They depict the atmosphere, for instance, and are attributes that you cannot handle, you cannot change, since they arise from surveys that are sent out to your customers. Objective, or payment options, accessibility, some of the examples I can list right now. And for objective ones, these you can actually directly handle them from the GMB back office. The available attributes, however, will depend on your category. Why? Attributes are particularly interesting when using vocal search, since we know for a fact that they are, on average, longer. We will most likely say, look for an open wheelchair accessible restaurant with Wi-Fi in Paris, but we wouldn't necessarily type it. We would type maybe restaurants Paris. If your listing includes those attributes, it will be more likely to pop up on this type of research. Photos. You already know that it is crucial to have nice cover photos and a logo on your front page. However, what establishments usually seem to not know is that there is an actual direct impact between the number of pictures you have on your Google listings and its local SEO, the extent to which the business will appear in requests linked to its category, its conversion, and thus the number of contacts generated, as well as the impact on traffic. This curve depicts what was previously mentioned, as it is a study carried out on over 45,000 establishments. Businesses with 100 pictures appear 7 times more in discovery searches than on average. Businesses with only 1 appear on average 2 times less. Moreover, the number of contacts generated is also exponentially higher. An establishment with 100 photos will result sometimes in up to 27 times more itinerary requests when compared to listings with just 1 photo. Needless to say that these ones are generating about 75% less conversion. So it's not always what you're earning, but it's also what you're losing that's important in this case. Let's talk about special hours now. There are 2 cases in which you need to denote your special hours. Days for which your usual hours are modified, as it could be the case during the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance. Bank holidays, even if the time slots are similar to the regular one, you still do need to specify them. It is important to local SEO for different reasons. The more active your Google page is, the better it will be shown, ranked. It is also significant for your brand image. Google will display an automatic message on the listing related if you don't specify them. On the contrary, if you do so, it will be displayed in green, opening hours during bank holidays. Therefore, it is imperative that you update your special hours on Google, even if they don't change. These few recommendations will allow you to improve your SEO and to have better chances of being found by potential customers. These customers were not necessarily looking for you, but they're finding you at first. Now we're halfway there. You now appear on the search results. The challenge now is to be chosen.
Exactly. So when establishments which appear in the search results all correspond to the internet user's request, it is the establishment's reviews that influence the customer's choice. So let's dig into this to make sure we understand what makes your listing is found and chosen. So first of all is answers to clients' reviews. First thing you should implement to spread a positive brand image is to answer to a maximum of reviews, whether positive or negative. It is meaningful for 3 reasons. First one is customer relationship. The customer is notified when you answer. It will show that you are aware of your customers, who will then be more likely to come back. The second one is the brand image. 97% of internet users reading comments are also reading the answers related. It's huge. Therefore, when you answer a review, you don't only respond to one person, you are addressing hundreds of users who will read your answer. Third one is the SEO. Responding to reviews sends a positive signal to Google. It proves that you are an active establishment, and the more active your page is, the more it will be pushed by Google in Appear First. The second thing is ask for reviews. Of course, answering the reviews is not enough to attract customers to your business. You also need to work on improving your ranking and increasing the number of reviews left on your listing. So, how would you do so? One easy way to do is to simply ask satisfied clients to write a comment. But how to do so? Asking orally is the easiest and fastest way to do. However, chances are the clients will forget as soon as they leave your establishment. Second option is send in a mass emails with really low opening rates, 14% actually. It will have more of a negative impact on the customer's perception of your business, and it will not bring you the outcome you're looking for. So therefore, the solution we find most adequate is to send invitations to your clients as soon as they leave your business, and the best channel being text messages. Why text messages? Well, because the associated opt-in rates are way higher than emails. We're talking about 94%, as well as the success rate. 40% conversion rate if the client has received a text message. So it's really important to use that leverage. Third thing to use is Google Posts. What are they? It is a functionality launched in 2017. It is allowing establishments to inform about local news or special events. There are different kinds of posts. You can find offers, updates, events, and more recently, COVID-19 ones. We really highly recommend our clients to use the events ones as they remain more than a week on your page, and you can add pictures, making it more impactful. If used effectively, Google Posts can increase your traffic and increase the traffic to your website, boost sales, increase your engagement with your customers. Indeed, you inform in real time special hours, new arrivals, emergency update, and so on. And what can be a better way for customers to get an updated information? It is the Google Posts. The second thing to know is which information should you include in your posts. Pictures in every format is accepted. If you decide to add text, please remember to put it in the center of the picture because the photos do not appear entirely before the user clicks. You can add in a descriptive text of 100 to 1500 characters, and also you can add a title, 58 characters title maximum, and be sure to count the letters. You have also the possibility to add a button such as no more, book, buy, or even add a link. However, please keep in mind that since September 2018, for the desktop version, Google Posts have dropped to the bottom of the listings, which negatively impacted engagement and visibility. On the mobile version, though, they still remain highly competitive and engaging, so don't hesitate to use them. All right, so quick reminder of what Part 2 is. Part 2 helps establishments to attract and retain more clients thanks to the digital. Our solution is based on 3 products. The first one being the presence management, the diffusion of all your establishment's information on a broad range of platforms such as Google, Facebook, Waze, and so on. The second one is review management. It helps the centralization of your Google, Facebook, and TripAdvisor reviews so that you can answer and analyze them easily from one single platform. And the third product is Review Booster. It encourages satisfied customers to leave positive reviews on your Google My Business listings through SMS invites. All right, so that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you all for watching. And we'll wrap up here. And Fernando, if you want to add in some informations.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, it was a great webinar. So as Kenza said, we won't have Q&As today, but consider us your source of information, and please come and ask us if you have any questions, if there's anything we may help you with. Thank you very much.